Let's get to what we've been watching. So, Lachlan. You took your time and rewatched the whole first season of The Last of Us again.
Yeah, I wanted to watch the John Wick films, but I ran out of time.
Mm.
But throughout the days of the previous week, I don't know why I said that sentence in that structure, but here we are. I rewatched the first season of The Last of Us, and
Mhm.
it is definitely an experience rewatching it as a full series. You know, when you like, funnily enough, I guess the other big HBO show that I watched in a very big chunk was Game of Thrones. I didn't really watch the first few, I think it was maybe 4 seasons of Game of Thrones. I think I started watching it with season 5. So
Mhm.
I binged the whole first 4 seasons and I found that very enjoyable. Very similar
Yeah.
thing here with The Last of Us. It is a really good show to binge in one big session. It is way more impactful emotionally. I feel like there were scenes that held up better during the rewatch just because I was back to back watching what happened in a previous episode, uh, and how that affects the emotion of these two actors in the next scene.
Mhm.
I guess the best example would be episode 8 and 9, because there
Yeah.
was a week gap between what happened to Ellie and then seeing Ellie's emotional distance to Joel in episode 9. It was a
Mhm.
bit jarring when you just watch it after a week, but watching it from that very last emotional scene, or almost emotional 2 scenes, and then following up with this distance that Joel and Ellie have in the final episode, it definitely hits harder. So,
Mhm.
to anyone who hasn't seen The Last of Us yet, I am very jealous that you get to watch it in probably the better way of watching it, and that's episode 1 to 9 back to back. So I watched it over
Yeah.
about 2 days,
Mhm.
2 or 3 days of just bang, 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 when I was going to bed, and falling asleep. But yeah, no, Last of Us is really, really rewatchable. Very similar to how it was replayable for me, and I think that's probably the best part so far of the show, is that it has been a rewatchable show.
Mhm.
With season 2 being split, or sorry, I should say part 2 being split over multiple seasons, I
Yeah.
will be excited to see how it holds up when they're telling a larger story over a bigger period of time. So,
Mhm.
yeah, no, I think The Last of Us is wicked. I'm a bit disappointed that you get to watch all the John Wick films this week, because
Yeah.
I really wanted to rewatch them all. I'll probably do it this week,
Mhm.
hopefully. But what are we doing next week? I haven't asked. What are we doing next week?
Dungeons and Dragons, which is
Okay,
surprisingly
cool.
solid. I can already say that.
Oh,
It's
really?
yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty fun.
Well, there's no
Um,
other Dungeons and Dragons movie I need to catch up on, so
there's 3 of
maybe I'll
them.
rewatch the John
There's
Wick
actually
films.
3 of
There's
them.
3?
I
What?
I think I'll try to get to them. They were like they have no connection to this one. But there's 3 other
Oh,
Dungeons and
okay.
Dragons movies that I kind of want to see to compare it to the new one, but nothing for you to catch up on. I think something that I want to bring
Sure.
up. We did this in January. I think like after episode 1 aired, I asked you. I hadn't played the games yet, so I never fully looked at the list because I didn't want to be spoiled for my playthrough. But you sent me a list of like each episode of what you think will
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
And I think you pretty much
Do
nailed
you
it.
have that?
Most of it,
Hang on.
yeah.
Where is it? How did I go? Episode 2, falling building, Tessa's death, and oh, by the way, spoilers for Last of Us. I just said
Yeah.
Tessa's
I
death.
mean,
Fuck, I'm so sorry.
no, obvious,
Uh
yeah.
Ellie and Joel escaping Fedra agents. I guess there were no
Mhm.
Fedra agents this time. It was more
Yeah.
zombies, and
Mhm.
then arriving at Bill's. But I guess episode 3, Bill and Frank. There we go. But it was more of a spin-off episode, so I guess I said that I kind of
You
I
couldn't
took a
really predict that.
literal adaptation, but yeah,
Yeah.
I guess episode 3, Bill and Frank, that's good. Episode 4, downtown with the hunters, and then they meet Sam and Henry. That literally happens at the end. And then
Mhm.
episode 5 is Sam and Henry, Ellie and Joel escape hunters, sewer exploration, and then death. Big mid-season finale. That was a
Mhm.
pretty big, like, explosive mid-season finale. There was a big bloater, everything. Man, I was on fire when I made this prediction.
Yeah, yeah,
Episode
it's
6,
the same.
Joel and Ellie arrive at Tommy's place, meeting the town stuff. Ellie runs away. Ellie doesn't really run away, does she? There's just that confrontation that Joel and Ellie have, which I
Yeah.
think maybe might have been one of my least favorite things. Is that I really found the running away part quite a dramatic, childish thing to do. They don't do
Mhm.
that in the show, but they
Yeah.
still handle it
They're
quite
also
well. But
not
I
being
thought that might have
attacked.
been
That's also a
they're
big
not. Yeah, they're
difference
not being
too.
attacked. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joel and Ellie chat, big fighting. Joel agrees to take Ellie all the way. That's what happens here. Well, he gives her the option. Episode 7, University.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's the
and then
flashback episode. That's, I guess, what you didn't get right there because
yeah,
I guess at the end of 6,
that's
I
where they get
guess
injured.
yeah, he already gets injured at the end of 6? Or is that Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess he
because
does, yeah.
they
Kin is a
leave
big
the
episode, yeah.
town. Yeah, they leave the town, and that's where they do the university. Joel gets injured, and
Mhm.
then episode 7 is the flashback where
Yeah.
Ellie's trying to heal him, and then leads into David's storyline, where episode 8 is David's storyline, which standard of the show. And then I say super fucked up cannibal storyline. Episode
Mhm.
9, Joel gets
Nailed it
Ellie to
there.
Fireflies, where Joel goes massive dad mode and fucks them all up. So
Yeah.
my
Yeah, you
prediction was
nailed it
pretty
pretty
damn
much.
good.
Mhm. You had that one down, apart from, I guess, the 2 episodes that diverged quite a bit
Spin-off
from the
episodes,
show
yeah.
because you weren't expecting there to be a flashback,
But
I
as
guess.
I said with our season recap,
Mhm.
that I'm so excited to see what they do with season 2 that
Mhm.
diverges from the game. I'm
Yeah.
more excited to see where they go with expanding the universe, because even though it's not canon to the games, I'm considering their expansions what they originally really wanted to tell, but just wouldn't work in the video game format. So
Mm.
I'm very excited for the next season of The Last of Us. I
Yeah.
will very much be anticipating a great season of storytelling.
Yeah. Gotta wait, I assume about 2 years until we
10
get back to
years.
that.
Oh,
10 years? No. Almost, almost. But no, let's get to, I guess, what I've been watching.
well,
First
yes,
up
Ewan, let's get to what you've been watching, because
Yes,
that's the
let's
next
talk
part of
about
what you've been
me.
watching.
Me
Let's
bears,
talk
my
about you
time.
now, Ewan.
Yes. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender over the last few weeks, actually, and I finished the 3rd season. And
So
yeah,
good.
it's such a
So
great
good.
show. It's
So
like
good.
one that I didn't watch much Nickelodeon growing up, and this is a great animated show from beginning to end. It's like one immediately when maybe that's me going into dad mode, but immediately while I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, this is a show that I would show my children and let them watch it because it has so many great
Yeah.
messages within it. It's so much about like compassion. It's got really complex characters that oftentimes then get simplified for the sake of being a kids TV show, but there's layers to them, and it's so enjoyable to see them on this journey of self discovery of all of that, like being tested in all sorts of ways, and it's beautifully animated as well. So such a
I'll
great
tell you
show.
what, it
Yeah,
is a show that I rewatch every few years, and it's just great storytelling.
it's
And
great, right? Yeah.
it is so exciting that they have established a studio to do expansive universe stuff. Have you
Hmm.
seen the
Cora?
spin-off
No,
Korra?
I'm about to start it because I know that that's like really hated by some people, and then some people really love it.
It's mixed. I have mixed feelings about it, but
Hmm.
stick through it because I feel like it gets stronger and stronger.
Yeah,
It starts pretty mediocre, and it's pretty mediocre throughout, but it definitely does become a strong show.
yeah,
It's just not as strong as Avatar: The Last
right.
Airbender is. I feel like Aang and the gang is a way
They're
cooler group of
iconic, yeah.
characters than what Korra is.
Mhm.
But no, trust me, they expand the universe. The biggest issue with Korra is how quickly things advance. Like they have like
Okay.
cars and stuff, and it's a bit
Oh,
jarring to be like, oh, okay, so there's the next season of
technology
Avatar
thing or what?
spin-off gonna have like smartphones. So it
Right.
like there's a lot of progression in a very short period of time. But look,
Okay.
I'll stop talking.
Yeah.
Enjoy
I mean,
Cora
I'll start
because
it this week actually.
yeah,
So I'll report once I've
see you
finished the
next week with
show.
Cora.
Well, I probably won't watch this 4 seasons of it. I probably won't watch 4 seasons of
A
Korra. I
lot.
would
It's
be
a lot.
surprised. But yeah, it's the same with Key and Peele. I started watching that just like 3 days ago. Already halfway through season three because you can cruise through those episodes. They're just like 20 minutes
Yeah.
long. And got some really iconic bits. I'm enjoying season. I guess no, season three has gone off to a really great start. There's like I think there's the sweating bit that's memed into oblivion at this point. Some really iconic moments, and they are
That's
incredibly
such a good
funny.
skit.
Like I never watch any type of like skit type of comedy. I've never watched SNL, and whenever I see a clip from SNL, I just feel like, oh, this is another reason why not to watch SNL because they're not really funny. And here you get these really charismatic two guys who are great. They're amazing at their job. And maybe I should watch more of this. I don't know if this is like as high as it goes, as good as it gets. Because I mean, they've got some incredible bits in there. I can recommend that to anyone. And I also applaud them for. I think by the time they finished, they wrapped with season five. They were like, we could extend this. I think they could have gone for longer, but they decided to move on. And I think that's really in like 5 year increments. I feel like you should, as a creative, reestablish what you want to do and move on. That's why like a lot of shows after season five, at the latest, they kind of fizzle out and actors aren't really that interested anymore. They're sticking around because they get like an increased pay for each episode, but there's no fulfilling thing for them anymore to stick with those characters, other than like maybe Bob Odenkirk with Better Call Saul. I feel like this, but even he doesn't really like that. He's, by the way, in a new show called Lucky Hank. 2 episodes out for that. I watched those two as well, and it's pretty solid so far. I've been watching a bunch of TV, but I'm holding off my thoughts on that until the season has wrapped. Otherwise, I'll be talking about that each week. But yeah, I also watched the John Wick films, reestablishing those for myself because I haven't watched them since, I guess, Parabellum, which was 3 years ago, 4 years
Mm,
ago at this point. And in my memory, they were great. When I rewatched them, they were even better. I ended up bumping up my ratings for pretty much all of them by like half a star. Ended up giving three a 5 out of 5, which is really rare for me. But I mean, the movie is not without its flaws. Some of the characters I don't really enjoy the quippiness of it, but just the action in it is incredible.
mm,
I just loved it so much. And it's great to be in that universe. And to see how, like, for me they kind of blended all into this mesh of John Wick. I couldn't really decipher where two ends and three begins. Um, and I think that's just like the continued story that you have in this pretty much just like one go linear story of John Wick that's told over just a, I guess, a couple of days or weeks even. Which is,
mm,
it's really impressive how incredibly escalated it gets when you compare one to four. It is so different. And something that we'll get way more into when we talk about four is the look of John Wick. When you look at the first one, it does look quite decent, but it's got like that desaturated look. Two has a bit more style, and then three explodes with the
mm.
cinematography.
Neon
And
colors.
exactly, especially neon colored. And then this one is continuing along that, not as heavy on the neons, but just beautifully lit scenes overall.